what's happening is they're doing things without the correct political authority.
These are the chief officers we're talking about.
Yes, that's correct. But what has happened is that, as you know, the Isle of Man and indeed Guernsey and Jersey did look back at taking Syrian refugees, and there was communication with the UK Home Office on the subject. At the same time, there was a lot of controversy in all three islands, and of course we're going to focus on the Isle of Man today.
But the three islands have agreed on a joint approach.
They did sort of work together, Guernsey and Jersey more than the Isle of Man, but it was fairly well communicated. But where the joint approach came was later on, when this matter went to a tribunal. So I asked the Freedom of Information questions of the UK Home Office back in August 2016. But because it's been fought, the disclosure, it's taken approximately 3 years for these communications to be revealed.
What you want to know is all the communication between the Crown dependencies and the Home Office, is that right?
Well, yes. The issue really was, if you're going to debate an issue and make political decisions about an issue, you need to be informed about all the facts. And if your government is denying you those facts, how can you have a proper informed political debate? And what happened with this one, it was fought by the UK Home Office, and a tribunal in the UK unanimously decided it was in the public interest for these communications to be revealed.
So the Home Office and the Crown dependencies said we don't want it revealed. The tribunal said, yes, it should be revealed.
Well, more to that, we don't know exactly in the sense that it was the Home Office officially who were contesting it. But then when the case was lost, rather bizarrely, the Crown dependencies came in with the Home Office and wanted to put in an appeal.
Why should it matter, this communication?
Well, exactly. I mean, my opinion is the Isle of Man should have accepted the tribunal's conclusions and said...
But initially, why should it matter? Why should you need to see this communication between chief officers and the Home Office over something presumably which is a pretty logistic issue to these islands?
Well, it's not a logistical issue, it's a political issue, and it's not just to do with chief officers, it's to do with all sorts of people, including politicians, and it's to do with making major political decisions. And I've done, as a Freedom of Information campaigner, I've asked questions on a lot of issues, but on this particular one, we've had similar situations with local authorities in the UK, and there's a lot of very important information which the public are entitled to know.
Like what?
Well,
in this case,
in this particular case, the main issue was that when it came to the Information Commissioner, the Home Office said, we don't want this information to become public.
But this is not substance. This is to do with the operation of the thing. It's not to do with anything in there. I mean, the government hasn't said anything particular inside this communication.
Well, yes, I think they have, but I need to explain that the reason why there was opposition to these communications being revealed is that the Home Office said that they thought that if they were revealed, the Crown dependencies would decide not to take Syrian refugees, and they also, and perhaps more importantly, that local authorities would decide not to take them. So it's been...
Purely because the information had come out?
Yes, because the whole point about it is to shut down debate on the subject, because with this subject it's been very much an emotional issue rather than one of practicalities and facts and figures. But I want to emphasise that this could apply to any issue. The issue of Syrian refugees is an immense one, deserves a completely separate
But there
programme.
are many other issues.
Yes.
You want all the information released, any communication between the chief officers, perhaps, of the government and the Home Office revealed? world?
It depends upon the issue, but when there's a public interest issue, and of course the tribunal stated that it was very much a public interest one and the public were entitled to know, that's when you should have the information disclosed. But, the bigger questions are why did the Isle of Man actually fight this disclosure along with Guernsey?
So what you're saying is that in a debate of this size, with emotive issues like the Syrian refugees, all the information should be put on the table.
Unless there are security implications, which there never were with this anyway, because these communications don't cover that aspect. But what we're concerned about is that you've got people making decisions on behalf of the whole of the Isle of Man, and of course Guernsey and Jersey the same, without consulting
chief officers.
Not chief officers initially, but then attorney generals, and then perhaps a chief minister saying, "Well,
But they're not paid to take decisions."
They're not paid to be dictatorial and not be accountable to the politicians, because we elect politicians to make political decisions. These are political decisions. So, of course, I mean, I was a Guernsey Estates member for 13 years. Of course, you've got to give civil servants a lot of authority. But
Do you say our Chief Minister knew everything that was going on, in some cases didn't know?
Well, as we understand, because as you know, Mrs. Kate Beecroft has been very involved with this, he didn't know what happened at the beginning.
This case.
And in my opinion, no decision whatsoever should have been made on fighting this without a political approval. And also there's the issue of the people who were involved with this particular issue appear to be the same people who've decided they don't want the communications revealed. So there's obviously a potential conflict of interest. So if anyone was going to decide that the Isle of Man was going to fight this in the courts, it should have been people who are not, involved in the issue at all. And that's really part of the problem. It's also the issue of governance, because why should just a senior officer or an attorney general, or indeed one politician, make a major decision on behalf of the whole of the Isle of Man without consulting with their colleagues? Because you've got a cost factor, and of course Mrs. Kate Beecroft did get some of the costs from the Isle of Man government. But it's not just the costs, it's the time and resources. But of course, the other thing, and I said right at the beginning twice to the Isle of Man authorities and to Guernsey and Jersey, please don't get involved with this, because it will cause reputational damage to the islands if you fight openness and transparency, because there's already been enough controversy about openness and transparency with other issues with the Isle of Man, Guernsey and Jersey. So I thought it was a major judgment mistake to say things like, in court documents, the Isle of Man, Guernsey and Jersey said there would be a chilling of relations between the Crown dependencies and the UK if these communications were revealed. Now, when I was in politics, we would never be so rude and aggressive as that with anyone, and that's not the way, in my opinion, to conduct relations with other jurisdictions. But I also think it's a poor. Politicians, when an island like the Isle of Man or Guernsey and Jersey are represented in court or in the public domain, you have to respect the integrity, the good name of the citizens of the Isle of Man. And if you start hurling out insults and say bizarre arguments that the autonomy of the Isle of Man, the autonomy of Guernsey and Jersey would be affected if these communications were revealed, when it was clearly rubbish, and when the tribunal already, right at the beginning, said that this was not a precedent, that it was just simply in the public interest to reveal this, I think one has to, this is where the politicians need to come in and look at the arguments which the Isle of Man government was putting in on behalf of people in the Isle of Man, which I don't think did the Isle of Man any good at all.